this evening, the nearly 160,000 actors represented by the union will join members of the Writers Guild of America who have been striking for the past 72 days for their own contract. This collective action will be the first industry-wide Hollywood shutdown in nearly 63 years. Joining us now is Fran Drescher, president of SAG-AFTRA. Fran, Ms. Drescher, thank you so much for making time this evening. I know that you have a lot going on. I'll get right to it. 2 weeks ago, you were quoted as saying the union was having extremely productive negotiations with the studios. Can you tell us what transpired between then and now that is leading SAG to strike?
Well, I think that we were dealing with a lot of peripheral issues that seem to be going well. And so I guess naively, I figured it would continue to go that way. But as we got closer to the core issues, it seemed like we were either being stonewalled or were further and further apart from coming into any kind of a meeting of the minds. And that came journeyman performers. That is the majority of our members who are just working class people trying to get jobs to feed their family and to pay their rent. And this is the people that we are really going to the mat for, because they are getting hurt the worst and getting marginalized to an extent where it cannot be tolerated anymore. So, it's imperative that we don't settle for a proposal that is a minimum, which essentially ends up paying those people less than what we made in 2020 in real money. And that's what we're supposed to be satisfied now until through 2026. It's insanity. And those aren't the only things. The old contract was based off of shows like The Nanny that had great longevity and a long tail of revenue. And that was the name of the game. And
welcome back to the channel. Guys, I hope you're having a good Friday afternoon as we get ready to go into the weekend. So many of you all from this opening video clip are wondering what's happening. Of course, the title of the video is about the Bitcoin inflation token, why people have stopped receiving it, what could be going on. Some people probably heard about it, might be interested in getting it, just don't know how to go about getting it. Some people were getting it, no longer seem to be getting it. So we're going to discuss all of that today, what's going on. And the relevance of this video, this opening clip, should all make sense pretty soon here. So we're going to get to that about the Bitcoin inflation token in a second. But the reason this is important because there's some relevance here. And what we're looking at is, this is a person by the name of Fran Drescher. A lot of us remember her from television shows like The Nanny, movie. She always kind of plays this Northeastern beautician type person. And it's kind of interesting to hear her real voice, which sounds nothing like her persona on television and such. Now, what might be making sense to many of you all is you're hearing things like the writer's strike, and Fran is the president of the Screen Actors Guild, right? These are like unions for these things. Now, so a lot of you all, this doesn't mean anything. It's not important. But you are seeing a lot of these stories now in the news. You can't hardly turn on the television without seeing it. And it's affecting you probably because your favorite television shows aren't airing. They aren't coming on. They're being restricted. Right. And that is because they are striking. Right. Now, why are they striking? Why is this relevant to anything? And why is important? Why is even our cryptocurrency important? As opposed to other cryptocurrencies. What's its function? Does it have any use? How is all this tied together? So imagine this. This is what's happening. And the reason it's important because it's going to play out on a larger playing field with many other areas of labor and technology. and artificial intelligence. And the reason this is because, as you've noticed in many of your movies and television shows, they're getting quite sophisticated with avatars and CGI and regenerating actors and people and de-aging them and so on and so forth, right? And so what's starting to happen with many of the streaming services and such is now they can have an actor come on for like a day and they can basically steal all his labor from him, right? They can say, hey, come on, do this scene. We're going to take your likeness, the likeness of you through a computer generation program. And we're going to let the computer do all your future scenes and such. And this is kind of extreme situation or example, but you kind of get the gist of where it's going. Where now what happens, the actors don't even really get paid for their likeness as such. And this is happening widestream. There's a proponent of these type things that is talking about how people are even taking the making money off of other people's races, right? They're creating there is a black African, South African model that's an avatar that looks like a real person, but they're owned by white people and other races of people. And so the entire gist of this is to help y'all understand that not only is our labor force, right, how we make our money, the rights to our products and services, not only are they being taken away, being able to take away from us, but people are being able to make money off of, these things and make a great deal more money than you, if you can make any money at all in some cases, right? And so that's what these strikes are all about, right? Now, the reason that this is relevant to many of us is because the future model is this is going to be all of you guys' jobs, right? And whether you have the right to strike and have the right to go after these people, these corporations, these centralized authority about your own likeness and products and such, right? And if you don't, you might end up not being able to eat or feed yourself, right? The other problem is the AI technology is so advanced now. It could be that they just switch to AI actors and AI writers and all of that stuff. And as crazy as that sounds, that's possible even right now that they could do that. And, put a lot of these people out of business. But it also just feeds into that bigger picture of what type of jobs, what type of livelihoods are you guys going to be able to have. So this is where the Bitcoin MYK inflation token ties in, right? Because it's based on the Citizens Dividend, UBI. And one of the biggest ideas is that we're going to have systems like this in order to sustain people, in order to, even if you're a rich person, this doesn't impact you, or you feel like you have a safe job. The economy around you, the value of your assets is going to probably depend a lot on, if the economy can be stimulated, because who's going to be able to buy your products if nobody has any money to buy them? So this is something that impacts and affects everybody. Now, I thought this was important because a lot of you guys just don't, understand why you should be using Bitcoin MYK products, why you should be using Bitcoin MYK products over Zen cryptocurrency or post-Zip cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or Ethereum or what have you, right? Why so little people are using them now, why the rest of the world doesn't see value in them, because it doesn't impact their everyday life. But this obviously impacts all of Hollywood, all of our entertainment, if we're going to be able to watch our favorite shows, etc. So that's going to be important to people. But anyway, let's now go ahead and talk about, because I went a little too long, but let's talk about why you aren't getting the Bitcoin inflation token. All right, so here on Bitcoin MYK, people are getting interested in this product. They're understanding the importance of it, but for whatever reason, they're not getting it, or they were getting it. Now they're not getting it, or they don't understand how they get it exactly through the process, right? How regular do they get it, and so on. So we're going to quickly detail that. So it works on a proof participation model, which means you have to participate because that gives you network value, right? That gives our product value. It gives the cryptocurrency value. So as you see people are using it, you have to use it. If you're not using it, if you don't have an account on the platform, bitcoinmyk.com, then if you were receiving the cryptocurrency to your wallet and it stopped, that's probably why the system recognized that you're not participating at all in some cases, right? Now, for people who are a little bit squeamish about, oh, well, I don't want to give any kind of personal details or anything like that, these accounts are set up just to be able to, as a means to distribute to your wallet, for you to, handle your passwords and passcodes to get the information to you, which means you can create dummy email accounts. You can create wallets separate from wallets that identify you. You can create emails separate from that if you wish, right? That's that the purpose isn't for us to collect or have any of your information, but it's just for that, right? Purpose. And so that's probably why you're not getting it. Now, how regular do you get it, right? It's proof participation. So you're minting the cryptocurrency based on what you do. And the citizens dividend, you get that automatically just by being in the system, right? So you have to have some participation to qualify for it, right? So let's look at the transaction history of some of the minting of the cryptocurrency and the regular payment cycles, right? How you get it and how you receive it, right? So you can see it's instantaneously, as I was explaining, right? As soon as you do something, for instance, this person Womi, right? They created their account and they got 10 Bitcoin MYK just for creating their accounts, right? And a host of other people today, right? Now again, these usernames, users IDs, you don't have to use your real information. You can just use a user ID and so on. But you can see they're getting this just for setting up accounts. Now, some people are getting it for visiting pages, right? Sites, logging in, making friends, right? Many things reminiscent of your standard social media activities. That's minting the cryptocurrency, right? So even things like you do now by visiting our videos, right? As you're watching this video, that mints you Bitcoin MYK. The important part is building network value, right? That's what gives every cryptocurrency value. But as you can see, this is a very much broader, important subject matter than just am I playing around with some cryptocurrency and for what? Because the for what is important. Because if there's no real good reason and purpose and use for the cryptocurrency, then most of the world's not going to use it, right? It's got to be the difference between getting 1 million users or 100 million users and getting 1 billion users, right? So, that's how this works. Now, to kind of tie in back to the unions and people working or doing striking, right? That's very important to this cryptocurrency and all of you as well. Unless you're one of those people who don't think in the future, your labor and how you support your family and make a living is important. And I don't even know wealthy people who don't worry about that. So I would say that's most of you guys, right? So what's happening is you can see how we explained the AI likeness thing. Many of these giant corporations and such, right? They're changing the world into a situation where they're basically going to be able to take everybody's labor, give it to AI and robotics, and leave humans with nothing to do. How are these humans going to sustain themselves? It's happening right in front of our eyes. That's what the writer strikes are about. It is about AI, CGI. Look, when you watch a movie, there are some movies we watch where half of the movie is CGI. So what does that mean? If half the movies you're watching is CGI, that means it was all done by a computer and not a human being. But what do we do with the humans, right? What right do they have to have? And if you're using their likeness, right? Because AI isn't as great and impressive as AI is. It's not exactly that creative, which means a lot of what comes from AI comes out of the mind of humans. So if you use a human being's likeness, right? Then what? Then are you sufficiently paying them so they can support themselves? And in these strikes, the corporations, as it were, are telling these actors and writers that we're going to starve you out. They're literally saying this. We're going to starve you out until, and that's how our markets work. That's basically the whole concept of capitalism in a way, right? That we're going to starve you unless you do this, right? Um, and unions are formed to keep the markets fair, right? But the pushback to unions have been that they become entitled, right? And they're always pushing for more. And so it's a delicate balance. Uh, and that's why projects like Bitcoin and YK is so important. That something like the citizens dividend, which is going to it's going to be capitalism that doesn't start at zero. It's going to give you your basic needs, a roof over your head, enough value to support yourself. But it's not going to stop the incentive of capitalism where you can go out there and be whatever you want to be and create whatever you want to be. Now, as I've said in many of my videos I've created, and as we see the world fall apart around us, in our space of cryptocurrency, this should be the most important topic, but it's not. Meme coins are. And unfortunately, like what's happening with the Actors Guild and the writers, is that they are now at a point where they have to take action when everything's been taken away from them, right? When now they're hungry on the streets. What would have been wise is to see this coming and fight for this before it got to this point, right? But this is a lesson that's going to push out from us in cryptocurrency and in our labor markets, that projects like Bitcoin MYK that many of you guys haven't found out about, whether or haven't been active about whether it's your fault or not your fault, whether it's lack of knowledge of it or full knowledge of it. The unfortunate part is, I believe it's going to be a necessity, much like what's happening with the Writers Guild, where you guys are going to take action and be involved in it. But only, unfortunately, it's going to be disaster at a disaster period for many of you all. When, maybe you don't have the job because AI has taken it, or and then you're trying to get Bitcoin and YK tokens to feed yourself, right? Unfortunately, so we're trying to stop that from happening, right? Hopefully we can. Unfortunately for the actors, these people can't feed themselves in some cases, right? And they've gotten screwed on their contracts, right? And that's unfortunate, but it is a cautionary tale, and it is a blueprint and a lesson for us on how we're probably going to have to negotiate our labor deals in the future. And in some cases, we're not going to have anything to negotiate with, because AI is going to be in control. These things are learning every day to the point they're going to be able to create actors. They're going to be able to write scripts. They're already able to do that, right? And there are AI personalities that people don't even know are AI personalities, and they have millions of followers. Let that sink in to you for a moment, right? The dangerous game we're playing here, right? The dangerous game many of you all in cryptocurrency are playing, depending on meme coins to get financial security off, when you should be involved in a project like Bitcoin and YK to have a real chance to have real substance about it, and combating these type of things and bringing economic prosperity to people, right? It is what I believe to be an eventuality going to happen anyway, but it is going to make a difference with those of you all who participate now and participate later, right? You never want to be the last guy coming in out of the rain. It's never good for that guy, right? So think about what I'm saying. Guys, I hope you have a good weekend. Remember, BitcoinMYK.com. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions. I see so much commentary on meme coin videos and stupid crypto videos and stupid crypto influencers, right? Maybe it's time to, get involved with something that really matters, that And it's going to be better for your pocketbooks, I believe, as well. But that's all I want to say in this video, guys. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.